Hello friends, in this video we will discuss how Hyderabad has become a deathbed for retail business. In our normal life, we see big shopping complexes and various other businesses that are being set up on daily basis. But do you know, in Hyderabad, 80% of the businesses which are set up vanish within 3 years. Do you know what is the reason? One among the reason for businesses to shut up their business in 3 years is high rental. This is a major problem that every business faces in Hyderabad. Commercial real estate is the factor which rules the retail sector. Especially in Hyderabad, commercial space that are in prime locations are occupied by big brands and big retailers. Now the business scene in Hyderabad has changed a lot in last 10 to 15 years. During the Corona period, lot of people who were in traditional industries or doing their jobs quit their jobs or lost their jobs and got into businesses. But 80% of the businesses which were started in Corona time vanished soon after Corona. This happened because there was no entrepreneurial zeal in the people who have started this business. Entrepreneurship is a inbuilt factor which propels a person to get into business and earn profits. But when people who are traditionally working class got into business, as soon as this pandemic vanished, they could not withstand the pressure of business and quit their business and re-entered into a working class, what I can say, a space. But what happens to a general entrepreneur or a shop owner in Hyderabad? See, in order to run a retail business, psychologically there is one mindset which says location is important for business. Yes, location is important to do retail business, but location is not the only factor which runs your business. In this new and modern world, there are n number of options to do your business without getting into nitty-gritty of location of store, position of store, type of location, area around the store, are some of the factors which generally govern a retail business. Among these, location is given the prime importance to set up a business. Generally, when a retail guy sets up a shop, what happens in Hyderabad. This thing happens to 90 to 95% people who set up their business and runs it for next 2 to 3 years. The moment the business becomes a success, the owner of the shop or owner of the building will automatically increase his rental even 100 to 200 times. 100% or 200%, sorry. The moment an entrepreneur sets up a business, his prime objective should be to run the business. But in Hyderabad, when a person sets up a business, his prime objective is to pay his rent for next month. When this factor gets into the mind, he is not worried about his business, but first he is worried about his rent for the next month. How he is going to pay the next installment of rent. When such pressures get into a business guy's mind, he is unable to concentrate on the real factors that govern the business. So, nearly 80% of the businesses to 90% of the businesses that are set up 2 years ago will fail in this year or next year, within 3 years. So, how to continue business with such pressures? In Hyderabad, we can see that once a business is set up, either the guy should have a solid financial backing, which is other than the business he is doing in that building or a shop. Means he should have a strong interest generating income, a finance business, or he should have some other modes of revenue which he can use it to survive for next 3 years. But most of the entrepreneurs start their business by taking loans. When an entrepreneur takes a loan and starts his business, his primary objective should be to earn profits. But what happens generally with the businesses which take loan and start a business is the moment he puts the loan amount into his business, most of the loan amount goes in paying rents or advances for the business. He has to invest a lot of money in storing goods, paying rents, paying advances. Next step, next month, working capital becomes a problem. For any business to survive, it takes 6 to 8 months minimum to let that business settle. But in Hyderabad, before the business settles into its place, these factors kill that business. People who have paid their lease amounts generally are safe for that lease time period, at least. But people who are paying month by month rent are in crisis. Either he has to pay the rent on time or he has to vacate that place. Generally what happens with retail investors or retail entrepreneurs in Hyderabad is, once he sets up a business and runs it like a pro, the landowner or a building owner will flock to his shop and demand an increase of at least 50 to 100% of the rental amount if he wants to continue that business in that place. Generally, this is called a blackmail. There are no moral values attached to this rental business. So once the owner sees that this guy's business is running good and he's earning a lot of money, what he does is he comes and pressurizes the person to pay extra rent from next year or next 6 months. Either the business owner has to oblige or quit his business or vacate the premises. This happens with everyone, especially in Hyderabad, where there are no paper contracts or there are no laws which can protect a business owner. Most of the laws are biased towards the building owner or property owner. In Hyderabad, the things may look rosy from outside. When you see malls, when you see shopping complexes, when you see a lot of commercial establishments, a lot of colorful lighting, a lot of money is invested into interiors, we feel that his business is running good. His business is good. He's making money. But practically, nobody makes money for 1 or 2 years if he sets up a retail business by owning shops or in commercial complexes. He has to wait for next 6 months to get the business on track. And next 6 months, he has to generate sales and footfalls. After that, he will make money. Generally, people who are not in food business take at least 2 or 3 years to maintain that business and make profits. Generally, food business is the only business which generates profit from 1 or 2 months, in 1 or 2 months. But in other businesses, which are capital intensive, it takes a lot of time to set up business and generate sales, attract footfalls, then make profits. But nobody in Hyderabad gives time for such issues. Everyone wants their pound of flesh from day one. Even banks are not helpful in running businesses. They want collateral to give a loan to a certain business. If the guy has a collateral, then what is the need of a loan? If this guy is so rich that he has collateral to offer to banks, why he will do petty businesses by setting up a shop or setting up a restaurant or setting up a garment store or XYZ? The factors which govern a business is the time taken by an entrepreneur to bring a product to a customer, educate the customer about his product, sell that product, generate return business. That means the customer who has bought his first product will again come back to buy a second product. Then he will be able to generate continuous business and make profits. If the entrepreneurs are not given that chance to continue the business in second or third or fourth phase, how will he make money? That's why we see in Hyderabad, every 2 or 3 years, the shop gets vacated and a new guy comes in with new business in the same location. After 3 years, you will not find that shop. New person comes in with new business. So every 3 years, same location has different kind of businesses being set up there. That means the person who has set up his business 3 years back has to vacate because he is not given chance to set up and propel the business into next phase. If such things happen in a city like Hyderabad, who will be interested to do business? On top of it, we have continuous harassment from municipal authorities, from police department, from commercial tax department or GST. We have to tackle, entrepreneur has to tackle all this mess before generating profit. That's why most of the businesses, new age businesses, has online presence. For example, if someone loses his retail space, at least he can continue his business on online space. And that is the best method being adopted by new age businesses, because there are a lot of problems associated with the location of business, the maintenance charges of that location, the things they have to do to attract customers, that is interiors. What I have seen in Hyderabad is people have invested lakhs of rupees to do good interiors, and within 6 months his business is zero and he has to dismantle the whole thing, because the next person who is coming into that shop or establishment has a different setup. So he has to dismantle everything, vacate the shop. Means he is not only losing the capital invested on goods and the rent paid or lease amount paid, but he is also losing on interiors. Means the person who has set up business loses nearly whole of his capital, 80% of his capital, for all these petty things. I want to ask people of Hyderabad, or the landowners or the building owners or property owners, if you behave with the entrepreneurs or a business people or a retail entrepreneurs in such fashion, will this retail industry in Hyderabad survive? Is my question. If everybody tries to go online, you can imagine the scene of real estate and commercial real estate in Hyderabad. Most of the people are doing that because they are not ready to face the harassment of the property owner as soon as the business gets established. As soon as it starts generating profit, the landowner comes and increases the rent or lease amount. So most of his profits go into paying the rents and lease amounts. So why the hell he should do business in Hyderabad? If someone wants to invest into business in West Hyderabad, he has to invest in crores. A small restaurant or a small footwear shop needs to invest at least 2 to 3 crores rupees to set up a shop in West Hyderabad. So what is, I want to ask, what is the percentage that we can expect that this business will survive for next 1 or 2 years, paying huge rents and lease amounts? They will not survive. It may look fancy for some days to set up business, run business, get footfalls, but ultimately what matters is profits. The business is not generating enough profits. What's the point in running the business? I'm totally against the businesses which run for years together and wait for profits. It is better to put that amount in a savings account and at least get 3.5% interest at the end of the year. That looks much better, much easy than running a business. Why should you put your money in business and lose 80% of it at the end of 2 years? What's the logic? I don't see any logic. But most people are hell-bent on opening their shops in prime location without doing proper homework about the rent or lease amounts or the type of business they are into. I have seen a lot of supermarket stores, chains, start their business in prime locations, they don't get at least 100 footfalls per day. At the end of 3 years or a lease expiry period, they vacate their premises and escape with huge losses. What's the point in doing business? That's why in Hyderabad we see lot of thalas and bandis and street corner shops, footpath shops are being set up by people who are wealthy enough to start a business in shop, but is not ready to set up a shop in a building or a commercial establishment because of constant harassment by landowner and government authorities. It is better to set up a shop on footpath and forget about rent, forget about lease amounts. Per day he has to pay 100 or 200 rupees back to a policeman or a municipal authority and continue his business. He can at least put his money in working capital. He can hire people. What's the point in opening a shop in a commercial establishment where there is no scope of generating profit for next 2 or 3 years? The people who are making money by setting up establishments are popular brands with enough cash flow which can sustain them for next 10-year leases. People take 10-year lease, 20-year lease. Only popular brands can do such thing. But ordinary businessmen cannot take up such risks with such huge finances that back that business. He does not have the proper backing to take a 10-year lease or 20-year lease to set up a business. He has to go for a rental mode. He has to go into a rental mode and set up his business. The moment he does that, all these factors gang up and kill that business. I want retail people to open up, speak about this. The commercial, what I can say, the commercial climate of Hyderabad is very tough for an ordinary businessman. Even maintaining an office space for offices has become difficult. With recession in tow, huge rentals that are being paid for office spaces have become a burden for a normal business. Even office space has become a burden. Leave retail space or a shop. They have to go for a non-commercial residential building to set up their office. Most of them are shifting to residential spaces to save money. Offices are being set up in first or second floor of a residential house, independent house. Why these things are happening constantly in Hyderabad? If the real estate scene is so good, when so many people are getting into Hyderabad and working in offices, getting employment, why there is such a poor scene in retail space? Why businesses are being closed? Because of constant harassment. Why business is shutting the shop? Because of high rentals. Why a commercial establishment is unable to survive in spite of opening in a prime location? Why people are forced to shift their businesses from center of city to outskirts of city where there are no footfalls at all? You will get a cheaper commercial establishment. But when the population is not the one which the purpose of business is open, then what is the point in opening the business in outskirts of Hyderabad, where there are no footfalls, where there are no type of customers you expect to come into a shop? A restaurant cannot become a dhaba. A restaurant is a restaurant and a dhaba is a dhaba. Right? A tiffin center a Udupi tiffin center is a Udupi tiffin center, and a bandi is a bandi. So if you cannot take the same model and shift that model outside the city, because there will be no business. Either you have to pay ransom to survive in center of city, or you have to vacate it and put it somewhere outside. Or third option is go online. But most of the people, entrepreneurs who are into traditional businesses, don't know how to run an online store. That's difficult. You have to manage commercial transactions, you have to manage transportation, you have to home deliver things, which is not an easy thing to do for an ordinary entrepreneur. When such things are seen in Hyderabad, it is worse than what we think or what we see. It's very difficult. I know a lot of people who are hell-bent on opening shops and commercial establishments with huge capital. Even after my suggestion, they have gone ahead and opened shops, retail stores, supermarkets, failed miserably in 2 or 3 years. They are bankrupt now. I feel that's very bad. For a big city like Hyderabad, which is unable to sustain a sustainable business, what kind of city is this? What kind of entrepreneurship will a person take up or take his business forward in such climate? I don't see any scope. Nowadays I am seeing even big establishments like more supermarkets is not doing enough to at least pay its lease amounts. They are unable to pay even working capital for their stores. You can just go and watch those big supermarkets. You can immediately make out that in our 1 or 2 years that store will get closed. When Birla group of companies are facing such problems, what will an ordinary entrepreneur can do in Hyderabad? The good thing is the person who is rich is starting a business, he will become poor after starting his business for 1 or 2 years. Another rich person comes and starts a business, he will become poor in 2 or 3 years, and he is replaced by another rich guy. That is a good point in Hyderabad. Nobody listens to anyone. Everybody has his own mind, his own approach, and everybody is making losses. And nobody is ready to accept that he has made huge loss. That is the scene in Hyderabad. So I want to tell one thing to entrepreneurs. Kindly, if you want to set up a business, try to set up a business by owning a property, which is an impossible task, what even I feel, but it is necessary. With a rented property or a leased property, you cannot take your good idea forward, at least in Hyderabad. Or go for an online store, go for a godown, select a residential location, start your business from scratch, and try on later stage, try to take your business to a prime commercial location, where at least you have a good business backing from your previous experience. At least the commercial establishment survives based on your online business. You can show up business at later stage. But in the first phase, what is important is profits. or crook, you have to generate profits to remain in business. If you like my videos, if you want any other video based on some other topic, you can just tell about that in my comment box, and I will try to load more videos on business and related subjects. If you like my video, kindly like, share and subscribe to my channel. Namaste.